Imagine this. You are standing on this endless beach after the storm has passed. The air is cold. The wind bites at your skin. This is the landscape of chaos. It's the phone call that shatters your world at 3 a.m. It's the unexpected diagnosis, the sudden collapse of a career, the gnawing feeling of meaninglessness that creeps in during a quiet moment. It's the formless, terrible reality that lurks beneath the thin ice of our carefully ordered lives. You know this place. You've felt its chill. Now, turn around. Behind you, just beyond the tide line, stands a massive, imposing wall. It's ancient, rigid, and covered in intricate, unyielding carvings of rules, duties, and expectations. This is the kingdom of order. It's the 9-to-5 grind, the suffocating weight of tradition, the bureaucratic nightmare, the tyranny of totalitarian certainty. It promises safety, but at the cost of your soul. It's the cage that makes you long for the wilderness, even as you fear it. This is the central, unbearable tension that Jordan Peterson maps with terrifying precision in 12 Rules for Life. You are perpetually stranded between these two brutal, equally terrifying masters. The chaos that threatens to dissolve you, and the order that threatens to petrify you. So, what do you do? Where do you stand? Do you retreat into the rigid, predictable wall and risk a life of sterile, quiet desperation? Or do you surrender to the chaotic waves and risk being utterly broken and dissolved? The book presents a paradox that cuts to the core of the human condition. How can you be safe in this world without becoming a prisoner? How can you be free without being annihilated? We spend our lives seesawing between these two poles, craving the stability of order, yet yearning for the vitality of chaos. We get a secure job and feel ourselves dying inside. We pursue a passionate, creative life and are consumed by anxiety about the future. This is the fundamental problem. This is the dragon guarding the treasure of a life worth living. What if the answer isn't choosing one over the other? What if the secret isn't found on the desolate beach or behind the suffocating wall, but in a space so subtle, so precise, it's almost invisible? What if the antidote to chaos isn't more order, but a specific kind of order? And what if the source of meaning isn't less chaos, but a courageous engagement with a particular type of chaos? 12 Rules for Life is not a simple self-help book. It is a key to a door you felt in your own mind, but could never quite locate, the door that leads out of this impossible binary. It argues that the meaning that sustains life is not found in either domain, but on the razor's edge between them. It's a path so narrow, it seems like a myth, a line you must walk where one misstep plunges you into either tyranny or oblivion. The book's very first rule, stand up straight with your shoulders back, is a cryptic map to this borderland. But what does the posture of a lobster, an ancient creature from the primordial depths, have to do with your suffering, your anxiety, your sense of being lost? The answer to that question begins to reveal the terrifying and magnificent structure of reality itself, and your precise, responsibility-laden place within it. This is where the diagnosis begins, not in the complexities of modern psychology, but here, in the ancient, cold blood of the lobster. Jordan Peterson points to this creature, a being so evolutionarily distant from us, and reveals a brutal, hidden truth that governs our world, the principle of the dominance hierarchy. For over 350 million years, life has been structured by a simple, unspoken law: winners and losers. The victorious lobster, with its confident posture, its prime access to food, shelter, and mates. Its brain is flooded with serotonin, a chemical that projects a sense of security and command. The defeated lobster, slumped and diminished, is starved of this crucial neurotransmitter. It skulks in the shadows, vulnerable, anxious, and hopeless. It has literally internalized its own defeat. You are not a lobster, but you are built on the same foundational architecture. You possess an ancient biological machinery that is constantly assessing your position in the social world. Are you a success or a failure? Are you respected or ignored? Are you climbing or falling? This is the hidden problem that 12 Rules for Life exposes. We are all, whether we acknowledge it or not, participants in a perpetual, intangible dominance hierarchy. And your place within it is not just a social abstract. It is a physiological reality that dictates your very experience of being. When you suffer a humiliating defeat, when you are passed over for a promotion, when a relationship fractures, you don't just feel sad. You feel low. You slouch. Your internal chemistry shifts. You begin to interpret the world through the lens of a defeated lobster, as a place of constant threat and diminishing returns. This is the fundamental force the book identifies, the tyranny of perceived worthlessness. It's the silent, cumulative weight of every time you failed to stand up for yourself, every time you tolerated something you knew was wrong, every time you told yourself you weren't good enough. Peterson, drawing from Jungian psychology, would call this the accumulation of the shadow, all the parts of yourself you are too afraid or too ashamed to confront, which then fester and take on a destructive life of their own. You haven't just made mistakes. You have begun to embody the identity of someone who is fundamentally mistaken. You are carrying a chaos of your own making, an internal world that mirrors the desolate beach, and it's pulling you down, altering your posture, your brain chemistry, and your destiny. The consequence of ignoring this diagnosis is a life of quiet, biochemical servitude. You become a puppet on strings pulled by forces you refuse to see. Your anxiety isn't a random malfunction. It's the ancient alarm system of a creature that believes it is at the bottom. Your depression isn't just sadness. It's the physiological state of a being that has accepted defeat and sees no viable path upward through the hierarchy of life. The world feels malevolent because you are, at a primordial level, postured for malevolence. You are not just suffering. You are participating in the creation of your own suffering. But what if this hierarchy isn't a fixed prison? What if the key to changing your position isn't about dominating others, but about confronting the chaos you have allowed to fester within your own house? The book hints at a terrifying but necessary first step to stop doing the things that you know are making your life worse. The question is, are you willing to stare into the darkest corners of your own existence and clean up the mess you find there? If this diagnosis of our ancient hierarchies resonates with you, ensure you don't miss the path to resolving them. Subscribe now. Let us know in the comments how you've seen this tyranny of worthlessness play out in your own life. Your engagement helps us bring you more deep dives into the books that matter. This unaddressed hierarchy, this internal sense of worthlessness, does not remain a private hell. It leaks out. It seeps into the foundations of our lives and our societies, shaping a world that is, in Peterson's terms, a distorted blend of pathological order and runaway chaos. We see it in the individual who, feeling insignificant, seeks absolute control over their immediate environment, becoming a tyrant in their own home, a sterile, rigid order that strangles the spirit. And we see its inverse in the individual who, overwhelmed by the complexity of life, simply gives up, surrendering to the chaos of addiction, sloth, or nihilistic despair. But the consequences are far more profound and collective than personal failings. The book argues that our entire modern world is caught in a dangerous pendulum swing between these two dysfunctional states. We see the rise of ideological possession, where individuals, desperate for a sense of order and meaning, latch on to rigid, totalitarian belief systems. These systems offer a clean, simple enemy to blame for their suffering, a new, suffocating wall to hide behind. They provide a sense of righteous belonging, but at the cost of truth, nuance, and individual responsibility. This is order, yes, but it is the order of the gulag, the order of the burning book. Simultaneously, we witness the celebration of deconstruction for its own sake, the relentless tearing down of traditions, norms, and structures without a thought for what might replace them. This is the chaos of the abandoned beach, now romanticized. It's the belief that all hierarchies are inherently oppressive, all forms of order are suspect, and that freedom means liberation from all constraint. But as Peterson warns, this is not freedom, it is a vacuum, and nature abhors a vacuum. Into this void of meaning rush the demons of tribalism, resentment, and a desperate, violent scramble for new forms of power. This is the chaos that precedes the rise of the worst tyrannies. The stakes, therefore, are nothing less than the future of our culture and our souls. A world dominated by pathological order becomes a lifeless bureaucratic prison. A world consumed by undifferentiated chaos becomes a brutal, predatory free-for-all. Both are, in the end, nihilistic. Both deny the sacred responsibility of the individual to walk the narrow path between them. We are creating a world where the only choices seem to be the unfeeling stone of the wall or the formless terror of the sea. We are building a society that makes it harder, not easier, to find that balance. The urgency is now. The consequence of continuing to ignore this dynamic is a collective descent into a new dark age, where we are torn apart by the very tools we built to protect ourselves from suffering. But if the problem is this deeply embedded in the structure of reality itself, what possible solution could there be? The answer lies not in a grand political scheme, but in a radical, almost unthinkable shift in personal orientation. It begins with a single, deceptively simple command: tell the truth. But what truth? And to whom? The prescription is not a grand, top-down solution to the world's chaos. It is a quiet, bottom-up revolution that begins in the smallest, most neglected spaces of your own existence. Peterson's antidote is not found in seeking a new ideology, but in the profound, almost alchemical power of voluntary responsibility. The path to resolving the tension between order and chaos is to stop trying to fix the entire world and to start with the piece of it that is undeniably yours to command: yourself. The first and most radical rule is not to change your beliefs, but to change your actions. Stand up straight with your shoulders back is not about pride. It is a physiological command to tell your ancient reptilian brain that you are not a defeated lobster. It is a biological act of defiance against the tide of perceived worthlessness. This is the core of the book's counterintuitive framework. Meaning is not something you find. It is something you generate through the courageous assumption of responsibility. The book argues that you must treat yourself like someone you are responsible for helping. Why is this so difficult? Because we often care for our pets better than we care for ourselves. We follow the doctor's orders for our dog's medication with precision, but we neglect our own. This rule forces a confrontation with your own self-loathing and indifference. It asks, what if the person you have been neglecting is a being of immense potential worth? What if saving that being is the most important task you will ever undertake? The prescription continues with a command that cuts to the heart of our social and personal failings. Make friends with those who want the best for you. This is not a call for shallow networking. It is a ruthless directive to audit your life and exile the allies of your worst tendencies. It forces you to ask, are the people around me pulling me toward a meaningful, responsible life, or are they co-conspirators in my descent into chaos and resentment? This is the hierarchy recalibrated, not by dominating others, but by aligning yourself with those who embody the order you aspire to. And then comes the most psychologically profound rule. Tell the truth, or, at least, don't lie. This is the ultimate tool for navigating the borderland. A lie, Peterson argues, is not just a moral failing. It is a metaphysical sign. It is the act of subverting reality itself to serve a short-term, cowardly goal. Every lie you tell, whether to others or to yourself, corrupts your map of the world. It introduces a fatal flaw into your internal structure. The accumulation of these lies is what makes your world feel chaotic and malevolent. Telling the truth, by contrast, is how you align your speech and your soul with the bedrock of reality. It is the act of building your life on a foundation that will not crumble under pressure. But this raises a final, terrifying question. If you truly embark on this path of rigorous self-responsibility and truth-telling, what kind of person will you become? What is the ultimate transcendent truth that this arduous journey reveals? Now that you've seen the prescription, the real work begins. Subscribe to keep this transformative wisdom at your fingertips. We want to hear your truth. Which of these rules do you find most challenging, and why? Share your thoughts below, and like this video if it's helping you reorder your world. The ultimate truth that 12 Rules for Life builds toward is not a single rule, but a transcendent synthesis. It is the realization that the entire arduous journey, the standing straight, the cleaning of your room, the telling of truth, the bearing of responsibility, is not about choosing order over chaos. It is about recognizing that the two are not enemies, but the fundamental, generative partners of existence. Order is the explored territory, the starry sky, the structure that makes life possible. Chaos is the unexplored territory, the infinite potential of the cosmos, the source of all new life and discovery. The point is not to live in one or the other, but to become the place where they meet. To become the living, breathing nexus where potential is transformed into reality. This is the paradigm shift. The book's final, most profound revelation is that meaning is the balance. Meaning is the weight you bear when you voluntarily shoulder your portion of the world's suffering and attempt to reduce it. It is the profound sacred responsibility of being a conscious creature in a universe of unbearable pain and infinite beauty. When you stand up straight with your shoulders back, you are not just confronting a social hierarchy. You are assuming the posture of a heroic figure, a microcosm of the Logos, the principle of divine creative truth that has, since the dawn of time, wrestled form from formlessness and carved cosmos out of chaos. Your life is not a problem to be solved, but a story to be lived. And every great story requires a character who faces the dragon of chaos, the unknown, the terrible, the unexpected, and returns with a treasure, a new piece of order to enrich the world. The treasure is the wisdom gained from your suffering. The treasure is the child you raise well. The treasure is the work of art you create, the business you build, the truth you speak into the silence. You are the hero of your own story, and the call to adventure is the suffering you wish to avoid. To deny this call is to remain in a state of perpetual adolescence, blaming the world for your predicament. To accept it is to finally grow up, to take your place as a flawed but necessary force for meaning in a world desperately in need of it. And so, the book leaves you not with a checklist, but with a charge. The antidote to chaos is not a pill, but a path. It is the lifelong, demanding, and glorious pursuit of truth, responsibility, and meaning. It asks you to see your life as a sacred duty to make things better, starting with yourself and rippling outward. After you turn the final page, the world does not look the same. The suffering remains, but it now has a purpose. The chaos still threatens, but it now holds potential. The order still confines, but it now has a structure you can build upon. You are left transformed, haunted by a single, empowering question. In the face of your own inevitable suffering and the world's immense brokenness, what specific, meaningful thing will you now dare to set in order? If this final synthesis left you rethinking your place in the cosmos, subscribe for more journeys to the heart of life's most essential texts. Tell us in the comments, what is one thing you will now dare to set in order? Your subscription and feedback fuel this channel's mission to explore the ideas that define a life worth living. To wrap it up, defeating chaos isn't about achieving some sort of unrealistic perfection. It's about making small, consistent changes that add up over time. By decluttering, prioritizing, establishing routines, and applying simple yet effective rules, you can significantly reduce chaos in your life. It's about taking control, one step at a time. If you're struggling with chaos in your life, I'd love to hear about it. Comment below with your biggest challenges and what you've found helpful. Also, be sure to check out my other videos for more life-changing tips and strategies to help you live a more organized and peaceful life.